washing machine follow-up video. I cannot believe it's already been a year. I love this thing. I have zero regrets, and full disclaimer, I'm not being paid nor sponsored. I don't even know this company. I have no affiliation with them. I've never contacted them. They've never contacted me. Future self here. I am now in post-production in the edited portion of this video, and in editing the video, when I uploaded it, I realized that half of my head was cut off. I have refilmed this video 5 times, and in an effort not to be a perfectionist or to hold this video back any longer than it already has been, because at this point it's been about a year and 6 months, and I really just wanted to get this content out to you for those of you that are really interested in seeing how this machine performed a year later. So please forgive me, half of my head is cut off. And thank you for the outpour of love and support on the last video. I never imagined that a video like this would reach so many people and help others. Thank you, thank you. I just genuinely love this, and I wanted other people to know how good it is. Not just on unboxing, using it for a few weeks and a few times, but like a year later, let's just talk about what I learned, how much I do like or dislike this machine. So, I can't believe it's been a year since the pandemic, but since the pandemic started, it's probably been longer. God knows how long this thing has been around, but I still love this thing. That's the long story short of it. I still use this thing. Not daily, I would say a few times a week. Right now I do have some items in here. So what I've been doing is when I'm about to take a shower or I come in from somewhere, if I have like dark colors, I'll put my darks in here like one at a time. So then by the end of the week, once my darks are in here, all I have to do is get my snake hose, run it, add some soap, turn it on, we're good to go. And then I have my whites in the hamper, the clothes hamper. So whichever one, sometimes there's whites in here, sometimes there's darks, whatever the case may be, but I kind of use it as a clothes hamper. I know. Maybe I shouldn't, but I've been doing that just recently, not a lot. But yeah, so I have a few things in here now. That's what it is. I still love it. I use this thing weekly. So maybe about 2 times a week. I usually wait until the end of the week. I was a little bit gung-ho in the beginning. I was washing all the time. I was finding any reason to wash anything. But once I saw how much of the fibers, like the fibers from the clothing, was coming off like in the drain, and when I would put the stocking method, which you guys in the comment sections are awesome. A lot of people in the comment section had suggested putting a hose, not a hose, but like a pair of stockings, which are these. I don't know if you can see it, at the end of the hose, and that basically catches all the lint that comes from your clothing, all the little fibers. It catches it, because I was using it in my drain. I have like a little mesh thing in my drain that I was using to catch. And initially, if you guys watched that first video, you remember I thought that that was dust from my apartment, like all the dust and the dust that was on my clothes, because my clothes have a lot of dust on it. I'll show you I'll put a clip in of like my pillows, and mind you, my pillows are underneath. When I spread my bed, they're tucked underneath, and I have 2 layers of pillow. So even the bottom layer of pillow has like a significant amount of like dust and lint on top of it. So I'll show you that, and that's why I thought it was dust. But essentially, a lot of it is the fibers from the clothing. So the agitator that's inside of this machine, it's a little white thing at the bottom that spins the clothes back and forth to get them clean. That agitator is pretty aggressive. They have 2 controls for the agitator on here. There's a standard and there's a soft. However, I haven't really noticed much of a difference between standard and soft. When I try it, it seems to spin the clothes the same way. I don't see it being softer or harder. It just seems like it's the same level of control with either one that I use. If you guys hear a clicking, there's a radiator in this bathroom, and for some reason it just clicks. So I'm so sorry about that noise. Hopefully it goes away throughout the video, or you just ignore it. So yeah, that was one thing that I was really mindful of with using this, like the frequency of using it, was I didn't want my clothes to fade. I didn't want the fabric to deteriorate, because this thing really gets your clothes clean. So I stopped washing like every other day or every 2 or 3 days, and now I only wash like twice a week. So at the end of the week, once I've worn all my clothes, I do 2 loads of darks, 2 loads of lights, or if I see that it's piling up, I'll just do 1 load of dark and light, and then 4 days later I'll do another load of dark and light, depending on if it's something that I needed immediately. So the one thing I will say that is amazing is that I get to wash my towels more frequently. Before, I was very mindful of how much I was washing my towels because I knew that getting downstairs to the laundry was a pain in the butt, so I was trying to like use my towels as long as I could. But a lot of you guys commented in the comments below not using your towels, like I think I said I was using them like every 2 or 3 times. So a lot of people commented, oh, you're supposed to use it 1 time, you're supposed to wash it after every time you use it, da 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 da. So that actually helps me wash my towels a lot more now because I have access to something so simple as just putting it in water, soap, quick 15-minute cycle, rinse and go. The other thing that I learned about this thing, I had to keep remembering to put the drain. So this knob here, it's always on drain because that's the last setting that you're going to use when you're spin drying your clothes before you hang it up. My last step is to take out the clothes out the spin dryer, put it in a little tub, and take it to my drying rack and just hang it up. So I always forget to turn the knob back to standard. So sometimes when I come in here and I put the hose in and I'm filling it with water, it's going nowhere because it's on drain. I think about 7 or 8 months in, I started being more cognizant of it. And before I even start the process, I come over here and I click it on standard, take it off a drain, so that now when I fill with water, it's not draining, it's actually filling up. Another thing that I learned was that every time when I finish using it, to avoid dust getting inside and collecting and, you know, messing up any of the parts, I always close it, but I used to put like a little towel right here, like a rolled towel, just to allow it to ventilate properly. After every use, I do leave it wide open overnight just so it can air dry itself out. And then after that, I'll put like a little towel right here. I was trying to see if I had a towel, but I'll put like a little washcloth right here and then just leave it like that so it's tilted and it still gets air in there, just so that after a while, if there's any parts that didn't dry fully, it can still have proper ventilation and can possibly air dry. Now, is it still working the same after a year? Absolutely. The same exact aggression, the same exact cleanliness that I was getting when I first used it, all of that is here. I have 0 regrets. The only regret I have is not getting this thing sooner. I've been living in an apartment in New York City for more than a decade. I wish I would have had this from the very first year that I was living here. It is a lifesaver. I can wash anything I want at any time. I don't have to wait. I don't have to lug anything up and down any stairs or in and out of my apartment. It's fantastic. It's the best. Another thing that I learned, be careful with denim. So when the pandemic started, I was kind of just wearing 1 pair of jeans repeatedly, and then after like a few wears, I would wash it. I was washing my jeans a lot more frequently than I normally wash jeans. And what happened with this thing, because of how aggressive the Agitator is, it will pull the fibers out of your jeans. And I mean big chunks like this. So I had a denim jacket that I wanted to wash because I'd worn it several times and then the collar was kind of getting like discolored. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna wash my denim jacket. Well, the end of that denim jacket was frayed. So this thing, be careful. If you have any denim that's frayed, like jeans with cuts in them, jackets that are cut off, whatever the case may be, any frayed denim, be very, very careful. This thing, it will clog because it will pull out the fibers aggressively and it will clog in there. So I actually had to take this thing apart, and I'm going to flash pieces of the video in here because you guys are going to be blown that I even did this. I did some troubleshooting myself. I'm a very DIY hands-on kind of person. I don't like to call or ask anyone for help. I'm the kind of person that will try everything under the sun, will research, will Google, will YouTube, will do whatever I have to do to fix a problem before I ask anyone. So I probably could have reached out to the company. It was under a year, still under warranty. However, this was a user error, so I didn't feel like I had any leverage. So I actually pulled it apart. So on the back panel, on the back of the machine, there's a panel and there's 4 screws. I got a little electric drill and I unscrewed them. When you pull it apart, you have access to where the drain is. So I was able to open the drain and manually pull this out. Because this stuff, it was all, I mean, there was more than this, but this is what I managed to salvage to like show you guys because I knew I wanted to do a video. So if it gets clogged, don't worry, don't freak out. It's really easy to get out. If you pull off the back panel, you will have access to the suction thing that goes up and down when you do standard to drain. And when it opens, you can pull it out, there's like a black rubber thing that's attached to like a little hook. That hook is attached to a string, which is attached to this knob, which goes back and forth in between standard and drain, which is open and closed. When you go in that panel, you're able to lift the rubber part up, and that rubber part is, it kind of closes, it seals into the drain pipe that sends the water out of the machine. So once you open that up, you're able to go in there and pull out anything that gets stuck. Now there is a light, like a small drain at the bottom of it, a white plastic drain, but it has kind of big holes, so things will go down in there. Now when I washed the denim this particular time, the denim did get stuck, like it did kind of stop right there, some of it, but a lot of the fibers had already gone down through the little holes, and that was what I was able to get out when I opened up the back panel, pulled up that rubber part, and then pulled out the other pieces from there. I also flushed it with vinegar and baking soda because the tube that comes out of this, the drain pipe, it kind of has like jagged little, it's almost like one of those, what is it, like an accordion type of things. So I knew that fibers were going to be stuck in the grooves. So what I did was I poured baking soda down a little funnel and then vinegar, just allow it to bubble up and coagulate and just kind of push through. Then I flushed it, the actual drain pipe itself, with warm water, flush, and it got my thing back to new, brand new. Like it would drain, I could wash again, it was great. When this happened, the drain pipe was clogged, so nothing was draining. So I had to leave this to drain overnight, and once it drained out, which it was a disaster. I was like so mad at myself for doing that. I don't know why. And I thought about it before I put it in. I was just like, is this gonna be okay with the fibers coming out? And I was like, it should be fine. Disaster. So heads up, be careful if you're watching denim, especially denim that has cuts on it that's frayed, because this agitator is so aggressive. It will pull the fibers out. And when I say pull it out, I don't mean like the agitator itself, like it's getting caught on the agitator. I mean the aggression of the water that the agitator is forcing around the fabric, around the denim, is what's going to pull it. It's just going to shake it loose. And so all these loose fibers and these pieces of denim are going to be clogged in here. So please be mindful if you have denim. I'm trying to think what else I learned. You guys' comments were amazing. You guys recommended lint balls. There's these little balls that you can get on Amazon, and you can just toss them in the water. They're supposed to catch the lint as the clothes are spinning and as your clothes are washing. I haven't invested in those yet. They're like lint catchers, not lint balls, lint catchers. And it looks like a little flower, and it has like a little net, a small cone-shaped attachment to the back. It's like a little net, and it's supposed to catch the fibers as the clothes are swishing around in the wash part. But I didn't get those yet. They had a really terrible review, so I was kind of worried. So I ended up just doing the stocking method and just putting a little knee-high at the back of here. So what I did was I just kind of went to like the drugstore and bought like a little batch of knee-highs. They come to a pair. So I use one for like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, 4 to 6 washes. And then I cut the bottom of it, tied in a knot, finished using that. So they last me. I haven't bought pantyhose. I mean, I think I only bought it one time since I've been doing this. So that's a really cheap fix, is having that little filter, your own little filtration system with using pantyhose. So yeah, you guys taught me a lot in the comment section about that. People were commenting about hot water versus warm water. I don't use hot water. I think I said hot water in my first video. That was my mistake. I do use warm water because I am afraid that piping hot water will damage something inside. So I don't use hot water. It does say that in the instruction booklet to not use hot water, only warm or lukewarm. So full disclosure, I know I've been saying so many great things. You guys are like, oh, she has nothing bad to say. This is crazy. There has to be a bad. The only downside is I can't pull apart everything to clean it. Like you can take out this lint trapper, right? It goes inside of here, the wash part, and you're able to take it out after every few washes, turn it inside out, and clean the lint out. Other than that, this is the only removable, cleanable, like easily accessible part of this machine. Everything else you would have to physically screw out to remove and clean. When I had that drain issue with the denim, I was able to clean the agitator itself. Now the agitator has a white covering on top with screw, I think it's one screw in the middle, and you're able to unscrew that. When I removed the agitator, it had collected, you know, water deposit, calcium over time. I was able to get in there, take it out, wash it out in the sink with Dawn dishwashing liquid, wash it, scrub it, and then I was able to clean below it. So I will say that A good maintenance tip is once every few months, maybe. I would say every 6 months or even once a year if you feel like it, because I did this at the 6-month mark. So I would say every 6 months, you go in here and you take apart, get a little drill and take apart that screw outside of the agitator, remove the top of it and clean that plastic covering that's on top of the agitator, clean below it. That's a really good and easy maintenance thing. The only thing I didn't like, I mean, I like that I can remove that and clean it. It can't be any easier accessible than that, or it will actually like come off during the wash. So I appreciate them securing that down with a screw. But there's another part that's inside. So the part that this filter goes into, I wish that I could remove that part and clean behind there, because I can see accumulation of some sort back there. And what I did was I got a Q-tip and I kind of went in and just kind of cleaned it as much as I could. Other than that though, minor like maintenance and cleaning issues. Other than that, this thing, I love it. I will still get it a million times. Everyone that I know that has bought this thing after watching this video or me recommending it has loved it, like absolutely loved it. So if you're still on the fence about this, or you're trying to decide, I hope that, first of all, the first video should have made you buy it, because that video for me alone was like, oh yes, I need this times 10. Like I should have had this years ago, 10 years ago. Where have I been? So I hope that these series of videos have helped you make that decision. It's everything. Everything. I have zero regrets. All loves. This is a lifesaver. And it's super lightweight if you have to move it around. I like to have it stationary in the bathroom. It did say to not keep it in moist places like bathrooms. However, I have a window in my bathroom that I'm able to open if it gets too humid in here. And then I also have like a humidifier little meter thing that I always keep track of the humidity. I like it in here just because my snake hose is right there. I can use it to fill up the water thing. You can also fill this thing manually. You don't have to have a hose or an attachment. That was one thing when I was trying to decide. I couldn't understand how I could get around having the pipe attachments. It just seemed so cumbersome, and it seemed so far-fetched for me to actually have this. I was like, I don't think this is going to work out for me, but I'm glad that I got it and then just figured it out. I know that's crazy. Most people, you have to have a plan before, but for me, I got it and figured it out once it got here, and I was so glad that I did, because it was so simple as grabbing my hose from my shower. It just fills right in here, and I can show you because I showed you guys last time, but it just, that's it. Fill it up, and I even time it. I have it down to a science where I've actually timed. It takes about 3 minutes and 45 seconds with the water pressure that I have to get it to a little bit above medium or right before it gets to high. So I time it. I tell Google to set a timer for 3 minutes 45 seconds, fill up my water, do what I'm doing, come back, turn it off, add soap. That's it. So yeah, I think I covered everything. Again, a little bit of soap. Wait a minute, wait, hold on before I go. A little bit of soap goes a long way. I think I talked about that in the first video, maybe the second video too, but I just want to stretch because it's frustrating trying to get the soap out if you oversud it. It is a little frustrating, so I try to stick to my 1 load minimum on my Tide cap. This is it probably is standard on most detergents where they have a little cap with the markers for 1 load, 2 load, 3, 4, 5. I stick to 1. Anytime I get greedy and I try to go to 2, I regret it severely. I have been able to go a little bit over on 1, but for the most part, it's right at 1. I did notice too that with cold water, it doesn't sud up as much, so I might use like 1 and a tinge over 1 when I use like a cold wash in here. So other than that, that's it. I think I covered everything. If I haven't, please comment below. I'm trying to get back to as many of the comments as fast as I can, and I do my best. I'm truly sincere from the bottom of my heart. I am doing my best and trying to get back to any of the comments or questions that you guys have. Another question I think somebody asked, does it say washing machine on the box when it is delivered? Yes, it says washing machine. It says portable washing machine. I was worried about that because I didn't want my super to know what I had, and the people on the first floor had been stealing packages, so I didn't want anyone to know it was a washing machine. But it does say that. I was fortunate enough to have a FedEx. I am friends with my FedEx guy. You guys need to respect and love the people that deliver your packages, because that is a tough job, especially in a pandemic. I am so grateful towards my FedEx guy, and when this package came, he actually hand brought it up to the top floor to me, and I don't have an elevator in my building. So if you have that kind of connection or relationship with your courier service, then by all means, it's shipped from Amazon, so it kind of depends who Amazon chooses. Sometimes it's Amazon, their own delivery. Sometimes it's FedEx. Sometimes it's UPS. Sometimes it's laser ship. If it's laser ship, forget it. They're going to leave it outside. They're going to deliver it to the wrong address. It's going to be a mess. So be careful with the courier service. But it does say portable washing machine on the exterior. So yeah, I think that was it. I think I covered it. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Please leave it in the comments below. I'm doing my best to get back to as many of the comments as I possibly can from the first video. I could not believe how well that video performed and how well it did. I'm so grateful for that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
You were my best friend. Didn't care about the rules, good on the weekends. I'll be in fools, drifting to deep space. So brave and so stupid, just like the movies. I was gonna stay in the fight with